Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something huge, something that honestly affects every single meal you eat. We're looking at the food safety crisis.
Yeah, it's more than just a few bad apples. The research we synthesized paints a picture of a systemic failure, a breakdown in protecting a fundamental human right, safe food.
Exactly. And the sources we have are pretty revealing. They don't just talk statistics. There's this one really disturbing
Oh,
anecdote.
you mean the one from 2006, the five-star hotel incident?
That's the one. Someone getting serially ill, high fever, vomiting, hospital after eating at the Sheraton. It just shows, this isn't just a street vendor issue. It cuts across everything.
Absolutely. It highlights how pervasive the problem is. And beyond anecdotes, the data on why the current system, with thousands of employees, is failing. Well, it's quite damning.
Let's get into that. The crisis on our plate, just how bad is it?
It's alarming. The sources describe this constant low-level exposure to toxins. That's not just one thing. It's in milk, vegetables, fish, spices, restaurant food, pretty much everywhere.
The analysis we reviewed even suggested it might be among the worst food safety environments globally.
That's the implication.
Yeah.
And the sheer scale?
Okay.
Well, you have that core statistic, right?
I do, and it's genuinely shocking. Research found that 76% of food in the country is considered adulterated or unsafe.
76%. Let that sink in.
It means only about a quarter, maybe 24% of the food people eat is actually considered pure or safe. 3 out of 4 bites carry some kind of risk.
And the scary part isn't just the immediate sickness, like that hotel incident. It's the long-term impact.
What do the sources say about that?
They argue this continuous ingestion of chemicals, dyes, pesticides, whatever it might be, it's actively chipping away at the population's vitality, their productivity.
So it's like a slow poisoning affecting health, maybe even brain development in kids, chronic diseases.
Precisely. It's framed as a kind of slow-motion catastrophe, undermining the whole country's potential, really.
Okay, so the problem is that bad 76% unsafe. Who is supposed to be stopping this? There must be agencies, people.
Oh, there are. Lots of them. That's actually part of the problem. The system is incredibly fragmented.
How many people are we talking about, roughly, across all these different bodies?
When you add it all up, the estimates hover around 4,500 personnel. 4,500 people working on food safety in some capacity.
Wow. Okay, so where are they? What are these main agencies doing or supposed to be doing?
Well, you've got the main umbrella body, the Bangladesh Food Safety Authority, the BFSA. They're meant to oversee everything from production to import, processing, marketing.
Right. How many people there?
They have about 365 authorized positions. Then there's the consumer rights angle, the Directorate of National Consumer Rights Protection, DNCRP.
Okay, what's their role? Market raids.
Yeah, market raids, taking legal action against dodgy practices, handling consumer complaints. They've got around 664 authorized personnel.
And standards, setting the bar for what's safe.
That's mainly the Bangladesh Standards and Testing Institution, BSTI. They set standards, issue those safety seals you sometimes see, and they also run mobile courts.
How big are they?
Also around 664 posts currently. But the sources mentioned big expansion plans for them, like another 1,600 posts.
Okay, so BFSA, DNCRP, BSTI. Anyone else major? What about the actual testing labs?
Crucial part. That falls to the Institute of Public Health, IPH, specifically their National Food Safety Laboratory. They do the chemical and microbiological testing, maybe about 100 staff focused there, based on estimates.
And then you've got the people actually out in the field, right? The inspectors knocking on doors.
Exactly. And that's where it gets even more scattered. You have sanitary inspectors, food inspectors. They work under the health directorate, but also within city corporations, municipalities.
So local government level, too.
Right. Just in the smaller sub-districts, the upazilas, the estimate is maybe 1,000 to 1,200 inspectors. Add in the cities, and you easily clear that 4,500 total.
4,500 people, paid salaries, supposedly focused on food safety. And yet, 76% of the food is unsafe.
That's the paradox. It points away from just needing more people, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
Which brings us to this idea of inspection density. How does that 4,500 number stack up internationally? This is where it gets really interesting.
It is, because when you look at inspectors per capita, Bangladesh actually looks, well, surprisingly well-staffed on paper.
What's the number?
Roughly 1 inspector for every 3,900 people.
1 for every 3,900.
Yeah.
Okay. How does that compare to, say, India?
Massively different. India has about 1 inspector for every 51,000 people.
51,000. So way, way fewer inspectors per person than Bangladesh.
Dramatically fewer. But here's the kicker. India's adulteration rate, while still a big problem for them, is reported at 42%.
42% unsafe in India versus our 76%, even though they have far fewer inspectors per capita. Okay, what about a developed country, like the U.S.?
The U.S., managing a huge and complex food system, has about one inspector for every 61,000 people.
Even fewer per capita than India.
Right. So let's connect the dots here for the listener.
Yeah, what does this actually mean?
It means Bangladesh has a vastly higher density of inspectors. We're paying way more per citizen for inspection coverage than India or the U.S.
But our food is significantly less safe, almost twice as adulterated as India's.
Exactly. So the conclusion drawn in the analysis is unavoidable. The problem isn't the number of people, it's the structure.
The fragmentation, having 4,500 people tripping over each other across 5, 6, maybe more agencies, it just doesn't work.
It actively prevents effectiveness. The structure itself is fundamentally flawed. It's organizational paralysis.
So if the structure is broken, what's the proposed fix? We can't just keep doing the same thing.
The sources are very clear on this. They propose a radical overhaul, creating a single, powerful, unified body, a Food and Drug Administration of Bangladesh, or FDA.
Modeled on the US FDA, I assume.
Explicitly so, taking the lessons from successful international regulators and consolidating all the scattered authority into one agency.
That sounds like a massive change. What kind of institutional muscle would this new FDA need to actually make a difference?
Well, first, it needs legal standing. It has to be a statutory body, established by law. Critically, it must be separate from the health ministry.
Why separate? To avoid the bureaucracy and turf wars.
Precisely. To give it independence and prevent conflicts of interest. And its placement is key too.
Where should it sit, organizationally?
The recommendation is placing it directly under the Prime Minister's office.
Ah, for maximum authority, to cut through interministerial issues.
Exactly. To give it real teeth and ensure its directives are followed across government. And the scope is broad.
What would it cover, beyond just food?
It would cover food safety, yes, but also drug control, medical devices, vaccines, biologics, even cosmetics and supplements, and, importantly, tobacco control.
Wow, so a really comprehensive public health regulator.
That's the vision. A single point of accountability for all these critical areas.
Okay, so how do you actually build this new super agency? You can't just snap your fingers. Where do you start?
You don't start from zero. The sources emphasize leveraging existing strengths. The current drug administration, the DGDA, is highlighted.
Why them specifically?
Because they're seen as relatively competent, particularly in quality control systems for pharmaceuticals. That expertise could form the core, the nucleus, of the new unified FDA.
Okay, so build around the DGDA. What's the first practical step in merging things?
Phase 1 is about immediate unification. Bring the Drug Administration, DGDA, and the main Food Safety Authority, BFSA, together under one roof. They're the two biggest players in their respective fields right now.
Right, merge the drug guys and the food guys first. And what about staffing? We talked about needing maybe 10,000 or 11,000 for U.S. standards, but what's the starting pool?
This is where the existing 4,500 number becomes an asset, not just a sign of failure. You take those 4,500 food safety personnel,
Okay.
you add the DGDA staff, which is around 1,100,
Right.
and then you pull in the people already working on tobacco control, even though they're scattered now. That's estimated at roughly 1,000.
So you immediately have a starting workforce of what? About 600 people?
Exactly. Around 6,600 existing, trained, paid personnel ready to be reorganized into a functional structure. It's not about hiring thousands new initially. It's about redeployment and integration.
Okay, so you merge DGDA and BFSA. Who else gets pulled into this new FDA? Which functions need to be centralized?
Several key functions that are currently fragmented. First, all the standard setting and laboratory testing for food and cosmetics needs to come over from BSTI and the IPH labs. Centralize the science.
Makes sense. What else?
Second, enforcement. This means integrating the market surveillance work of the Consumer Rights Body, DNCRP. But crucially, also taking over the field inspection and mobile court authority from all the city corporations and municipalities.
Ah, so the FDA's own people would be doing the inspections and enforcement nationwide, not relying on dozens of different local government bodies.
That's the idea, a unified command structure for enforcement, from setting standards to boots on the ground, and finally, tobacco.
Right. You mentioned tobacco control earlier.
Yeah, those separate cells doing tobacco work in the health ministry and industry ministry, they need to be consolidated fully into a dedicated tobacco control division within the new FDA.
So it really becomes this single powerful agency handling everything from unsafe milk to cigarettes to fake medicines.
That's the proposal. A holistic approach to public health regulation under one accountable body.
Okay, let's wrap this up. The core takeaway from this deep dive seems pretty clear.
What stands out to you?
That this crisis of 76% unsafe food, it isn't really about money or not having enough people. We have, what, 6,600 people already on the payroll across these areas?
Right. The resources are there, just deployed incredibly inefficiently.
So the real problem is the broken structure, the fragmentation. And the sources argue that a unified, powerful FDA, backed by the PM's office, isn't just a pipe dream. It could actually turn things around.
And potentially, quite quickly. The analysis suggests significant improvements could be seen within 2 to 3 years if the reorganization is done decisively.
Because you'd finally have coordination, clear responsibility, and the authority to act.
Exactly. And it's not just about avoiding stomach aches. Poison-free food, as the sources put it, is fundamental. It's about national health, productivity, even dignity.
The goal being, what was the phrase? Purity in milk and the genuine scent of life, not chemicals, in your vegetables.
That's the ideal, yes. Getting back to food that nourishes rather than harms.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. We know there are around 6,600 people already employed in this space. We know the proposed structure, a unified FDA. So given all that, what's the real roadblock? What's the single biggest obstacle preventing the political will needed to merge these existing agencies, these paid staff, into one effective body? Is it bureaucratic inertia, ministries fighting over turf, or something else entirely? Something to consider next time you're wondering what's really in your food.